Hello, welcome everyone to Multifamily Deals Dollars podcast show. And I have a very special guest with me. His name is Linus Lang, and he is an amazing investor. I have known him for quite some time. So he's a real estate investor, mortgage associate, and entrepreneur, and he is keeping the things practical, and his focus is on building smart systems and that actually works. So it's theory wise is different, but what's practical is very different. We'll see. And he has a hands-on approach and very sharp mind for the strategies he uses in real estate. And let's let's hear more from Linus what he's going on. And welcome to the show, Linus.
Hi, Kiran. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, that was a nice introduction. Yeah, I think it's very important for us, especially people who are starting out in real estate, to have a fixed plan in mind and not just dive in head first. And for me, it was long on my mind to actually start investing in real estate. And I am born and raised originally in Germany, but I know that, for example, like a lot of my family and a lot of people, like in my peers, basically, they don't really have real estate in mind because they cannot fathom the idea to actually own property as an investment just because of house prices. One of the reasons for me to move to Canada was actually to own my own property in my own house, and it was just one of many reasons. But this is basically how I got involved. My first deal in real estate was like many people with my residence, my primary residence, and from that on, I started investing. Just a little bit to share my journey. My very first investment was an Airbnb
Oh,
because
nice.
it was actually it was in trend at that time. As things shifted a little bit, but there was something I wanted to do, and so I was very hooked on the idea of investing and getting money without really having to be present, and just also like providing people with a nice location where they can at that point have a good vacation. But I wanted to have a little bit more, and I got more into real estate and about mindset. I read all the books you can get, watched all the YouTube videos, and also I eventually joined a investment community. And from that on, it's just expanded tremendously, I would have to say.
Nice. And the very important thing you mentioned about mindset, I believe that anything you do in life, you finish it up first and then you actually do it. And if you can imagine it and you believe it, you can do it. There's nothing in the world that is impossible. So you mentioned about real estate, like having that dream of having their own property. So in Germany, like usually people have a very big difference, like how much income they have and what properties they buy.
Yeah, so the I would say the real estate prices are really at a point where with a normal income you cannot really afford anything. A lot of the structuring, how the mortgage would work, is very different. Amortization is way farther out. So there's it's just not feasible. So it's a renter's nation, becoming a renter's nation, and it's a really to be in that position where I am right now, I would be never able to do that in Germany. Not that I want to talk bad about it. It's just it's very saturated. Land prices you can imagine because it's just very crowded. It's incredibly expensive. Building your home is you don't basically buy a property or build a property for you. It's for the next generation because they will have to take over and they will probably have to keep paying for it too. So this is very different. My very first touchdown actually in Canada, where I lived about 3 to 4 years, was in British Columbia in Victoria.
Oh,
Beautiful
nice.
area. It's very gorgeous. I love the West Coast, but similar to Germany, very unaffordable, especially for first-time home buyers.
Yes, yeah, that's true. And I feel in real estate and in business, right? And it's about supply and demand. when a lot of people want and then there's not enough supply. And in BC, there's like mountains on one side and there's like ocean on one side. It's very limited land available. So everybody, and the weather,
Yeah.
everybody wants to be there, and then less supply and demand. So things become expensive. However, like I have known you for a long time. You are a multifamily investor, so it's a system and it's a business. So when you run the system well, and you can live anywhere, right? So you are living in another province and you're investing throughout North America.
Yes, exactly. And that's one of the things with what we talked about earlier about the mindset. Because at the beginning, I'm a very hands-on person. I wanted to have everything I invest in, I want to have in a very close proximity, probably like an hour away, so I can drive to that location and just see if everything is correct. And this is limiting your actually way to grow, because not only that you have the urge to check on whoever's managing their property, but also what you have access to in form of investments. So that's why my very first, one of my last deal is the very first deal I actually were partnering with someone, and we are developing a sixplex in a different province. And I cannot be more excited about that. It's an incredible journey right now.
Nice, that's great. And then two things to mention, we'll talk about those. So the first thing you mentioned is like living in one province and investing in another province. And
Yes.
in real estate, it says that like there are different kind of strategies, but not all strategies work in a specific market all the time. Right now, because of the land being affordable, it's possible, and the zoning allows what different province allow, they have allowed. It makes sense, uh, and also it's profitable to build multifamily on those provinces, right? And in BC and some parts of Ontario, it's still like the land is very expensive, and you cannot, you can build it, but you have to sell those, out of the 6 units, and you cannot keep it. Yeah. So, and the second thing you mentioned about partnerships, and so that's, would you talk about more like about partnerships? What would you recommend to somebody, another investors? I believe a lot of people are hesitant to partner up with somebody. What would you suggest that how can they, how this the hesitation, how they can remove this, fear of partnering with somebody?
No, yeah, it's a very good question. I think because real estate in the form we're doing it, it's a business. So you have to see it really as a business relationship. And finding the right person is absolutely crucial. Obviously, they have to bring a certain skill set to the table, which is complementary to your own. And very important, in my opinion, is like sitting down with the person and getting the person to know their character traits, how they probably deal, maybe get some insights about experiences they already have. And then you will have to trust your gut. I think that's one of the very important parts, because right now, the way real estate is going, I think it's going to be very difficult for solopreneurs, for people who just try to do it by themselves. It's going to be very, the way to scale and actually the profitability will be a little bit limited if you're not able to form partnerships. You don't really have to. I mean, there obviously it's different kinds of investment strategies you can do. If you want to invest in real estate, but you don't really want to like find the partner, you can always invest in REITs, but it's not much fun. And so it's if you have someone, especially for me, for example, investing in a different province, I want to have someone who's knowing the market or even living exactly there. So they are the boots on the ground. Otherwise, it's gonna be it's just my mindset. It's gonna be a little bit difficult, but it's also something I'm exploring for myself, just to get more investor out, like get to know more investors, get my name out there, and also see what kind of partnerships would fit. And also, obviously, one of the most important parts is the goal aligned. because you would have to make right from the start. You have to make sure, well, we are a buy and hold company, for example, or we just do it and we increase, for example, the income and then we try to sell it. Like this needs to be clarified right from the start. Otherwise, it's just going to be friction. And yeah, that's what you want to avoid.
Right. And then other thing is the amount of time you are able to compress in partnerships. You have the skills. You have every person, I believe, is incredible in their own way. And we all are different personalities. We all have different experience. When we all come with different skills. And for me, like I came from healthcare background. I did not have a construction background, but my partners had construction background. My family, and they never did land development, but my partner, they have always been doing, land development deals. So I believe that, with partnerships, investors compress time, and we all know time is the most valuable asset. So and not all deals not all deals go bad, when they are in partnerships. And I believe like investors, need to look into how can I compress my time, and how can I make sure that the deal is running smoothly, and we all can benefit from each other's relationship.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I cannot agree more. It's a very important point you mentioned, that you need to be in a position where you have the trust the other person's skill. You have to find the complementary skill, and also so you need to find the right people for that, for a strategy. I want also to mention that as a real estate investor, obviously you want to make the money at the buy, but eventually maybe something goes wrong, and that's gonna be okay, because not everything is gonna be home run. But how you would deal with that with your partners. So that's another thing which is very important to clarify right from the start. What happens if we have to put more money in? What if for example, the deal is going bad? What is our exit strategy? And then everything's smooth sailing from there.
Right. To add on, I still remember there was one, I was sitting on the dinner table. It was, I think, after a conference, and one of the investor, he mentioned that it's not when you're in a race on a racetrack, it's not about the horse, it's about the jockey. You don't bet on the horse, you bet on the jockey. And so the same thing in real estate is, it's not the property only, and it's all about who are the investors, who are running the show. And real estate, what you do to the property so that you can increase the NOI, and you can refinance it. And that's a skill that comes with experience. And that's the asset is, I think, when you own that asset, you know what you can do to the property to increase the NOI, and what you do in stressful situations and in the changing environment, right? And that's an incredible asset.
Yeah, exactly. Our rules and regulations are changing constantly, and we just have to also adjust our expectations. And like in everything, there's going to be cycles where it's going to be very profitable, and then maybe you just have to hold on for a little bit. But yeah, again, like when we're talking about partnerships, it's really, in my opinion, about communication. Set the expectations and the goals right from the start, so there will be no surprises later on.
Amazing. So, Linus, what advice would you give to an investor in today's 2025, in today's market, to somebody who is working full time and has time left, to invest, and doing the research or doing the due diligence? And I think right now we are living in a time that even though the husband and wife both are working, or two people are working, it's not enough. There's a rising inflation, and there is the raise in that job or the salary or somebody working hourly, it has not gone that much, that inflation has gone up, and so there's not enough money left for somebody to take on vacation or those what people want to do. So what advice would you give to somebody?
Oh yeah, that's a tricky question. I mean, one of the reasons why we invest in real estate is actually get out of that rat race, depending on if you enjoy your job or not. But my advice would be if you don't have the time, then you have to see what you can contribute. A lot of times, if you're not the person who's finding the deals, doing the underwriting, you're gonna be the passive partner. So you will probably be the person who's bringing the capital, or maybe if you are, for example, like a have a very good credit or you have a very good high paying income. So this can be used and can be very useful when you try to qualify for a mortgage. Because if you can not only bring the capital and also the working, the actually the work needs to be done for to find the real estate and also do the underwriting, but you can also bring other things. For example, like I mentioned with credit or just your income, because on the paper, the way the banks are looking at it, if you don't have a corporation and you try to do it as a JV, for example, they will look at the income and then the debt and see what is the ratio. And if you have someone who has a good income, the ratio can be very favorable.
Right. And the other thing is, it's easy to make money. Like, it's okay. People can make money. It's easy to make money, but it's hard to keep that money.
Yeah.
And it's even harder to make that money work for you. But if you have figured out that how that let money make money for you, and that's all about working by the hourly, working by the salary. You can bi-weekly paycheck. It's very comfortable, you
Yes.
know and but how would you make sure that you're able to keep that money and still making sure that you are able to keep up with inflation? Bills are getting paid, the mortgage is getting paid, and you're able to afford the lifestyle you want.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. For me, as real estate is knowledge and a skill set which you can all train. I think it's important that you start early because you want to have the longest runway to be able to invest and also get the compound effect kicking in. And that's why you have to know what you are willing to sacrifice, how much money you can allocate every month, actually to put, for example, in some form of investment. Is it real estate or stocks or bonds or whatever? And then see what you are expecting after a certain time, and then obviously diversify. But if you're someone who's just saying, well, I only have a certain amount and I just want to make money, it's gonna be tricky because real estate itself is not a make money quick strategy. Well, it's not supposed to be one because there should be a hedge in inflation, but people did very well during the pandemic, flipping houses and just increasing the rent and all these kinds of stuff. So it was out of the norm, I would say. But in general, real estate is a long-term strategy. And that's why I think it's very important to find first if real estate is even for you, if you want to have your money tied up for a longer period of time, or if it's maybe something for example, if you're not in that market, you want to invest, do you find someone you can trust where you can just put the money in? Do you want to invest in a REIT or maybe stocks, whatever is better for you? But in real estate in general, you have to invest the money and think about it as a long-term strategy. I think that's the best.
Right. And then once you refinance once, you keep on refinancing that. Like, I believe that the real estate is like it creates a mini version of you working for yourself, right? Like, you're making 100K, you have another property that's 100K, is like that rental income. That's like another person, like now you have made clones of you working for yourself. So I think that's like when I think about it, I just get sometimes goosebumps that you can there's endless number of income stream or income you can create when you think
Yes.
about it, when you work for it. So
Yes. And
Linus,
it has been done for a long period of time. So it's very proven. It's a good strategy to do it. And people like did very well over the last years, I would say.
right, like looking at Donald Trump or anything, multi-millionaires or billionaires, and they have invested in real estate and they have invested in, big properties. They have been really, really successful in their lives. So
So just to share something on that, my personal strategy is multifamilies, I mean multifamily building and a buy and hold strategy. So I always looked at properties, especially here where I invest. Like a lot of my properties are in New Brunswick, and it's all positive cash flowing. But what I'm doing, for example, because I also have a day job and I don't want to give that up. I just keep generating income with that, which is basically supporting me. But all my investments, I don't really touch that income and I don't really touch that equity in a form that say, well, I'm going to refinance and then I just buy me a nice car. I don't really care about that. What I want to do is just keep reinvesting it. Just get the machine going. And then at that point,
yes.
when you have the compounding kicking in, I mean, that's gonna be a whole different animal. And eventually you will have enough and then you can decide if you want to keep working or if you just like go in early retirement.
Right. And I believe like for somebody, when you really love something and that becomes your passion and, and sometimes I think about it, like I really don't need money, like another cash flow to pay the grocery bill or bills. Why do we investors keep on buying properties? And I thought, and then I realized that because we enjoy it, because we enjoy looking at the property and buying it and then, providing somebody very safe, clean, place to live so that they can, create more memories and also giving back to the community,
Yes.
and Canada, like, being you an immigrant, I'm also immigrant, and Canada has given us so much opportunities. And I believe, if there is anything we can do as investors, it is to create more housing for our people, for our Canadians.
Yes. No, I have to. I 100% agree. I'm very grateful for Canada being a place where everyone is welcome and we can actually create something for ourselves. And this is another reason why I wanted to immigrate to Canada. It's just there's a certain, I mean, obviously every country has their ups and downs, but there's a certain entrepreneurial spirit which is still alive, and you can do something if you really put your head down and work for it. And especially, like I said, like land, houses, even if it's a and not in every area, but in most of the areas, yeah, you can own something with two incomes, for example. And this is something which is not normal and not common all over the world, right? So I think Canada is one of the countries where you can really still do it. And I mean, it's very attractive. A lot of Europeans have a very positive opinion about Canada, and everyone like from my family, they are very, I wouldn't say jealous, but they totally understand my decisions. So, and they came
Yes.
visiting me and they saw what I'm building, so they're very happy for me too.
And I believe it's a land of opportunity, right? So we have multiple provinces. We have the cash flow markets. We have appreciation markets. We have the municipalities, which are very, very pro for development. And we have everything, And then on the top, the cherry on the top is the MLI Select program.
Yes.
Like the 50-year amortization. Who in the world, which country has this product? And I think I used Google, and they was like, that does not even exist,
Yeah.
And so that's really amazing that we are able to build new
Yeah.
and keep it for a longer term. Yeah.
Yeah. So for everyone who may be not knowing what the MLS, CMHC, MLS, MLI, sorry, I'm stuttering here. Uh, CMHC MLI Select program. Now I got
Yes.
it. So for
Yes.
everyone who doesn't know what it is, it's
Yes.
basically something you are able to put 5% down for a qualified building and going into a certain category where you collect points. And then you can basically the bank gives you 95% loan to value, and you can the amortization is going to be up to 50 years. And this is a total game changer for everyone who's looking into multifamily.
That's amazing. And then Linus, being your investor,
Yeah.
you run the numbers all day in and out, right? You are in the best position to, if somebody is looking for, like a financing, like looking into mortgage, because you're, if the product is good, you're going to advise or your investor, clients that it's a good, go forward. And if it's not a
Yeah.
good fit for them, and not a right strategy or not a right deal, that the numbers don't work, and that I think you are really really in a amazing position. You can advise somebody.
Thank you very much, Kiran, for saying that. Yeah, and I also would advise for everyone to get a trusted mortgage advisor, mortgage broker associate, because these guys are working for you for free. They are on in your corner. They just have another set of eyes on your investment, and they will let you know if it's feasible. Maybe you can also explain your strategy, and they will present it towards the lender and negotiate the right terms for you. So I think it's just another team to have in your corner.
Nice, that's great. And thank you so much for coming, Linus. And I really, truly enjoy, every time we have conversation and get to know more about what you're up to, and the conversation and the mastermind, when two investors have, it's truly incredible.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me here. And was my pleasure. It was amazing, like always.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Linus.
Bye.
And how can our investors reach out before I let you go to you?
Yeah, so the best way actually to reach out to me is always over Facebook or over Instagram. So my Facebook is Linus Lang, or my Instagram is Linus.mortgages.
Nice. And thank you so much for watching the show and listening to us. And myself, Kiran, keep watching, subscribe to the channel Multifamily Deals and Dollars. And we'll connect again, Linus. Thank you and have the best wishes for your journey.
Thank you very much, Kiran.
Thank
Bye.
you.